Usually when we sit down to do a deep dive, the stack of sources on my desk looks pretty standard.
Right.
We're talking box scores, maybe some advanced ratings, a trade rumor or two. But today, this stack reads less like a sports recap and more like a police blotter.
It really does. I was going through the reports this morning, and I mean, it's safe to say this wasn't just a regular Tuesday in the NBA. It was basically fight night.
Yeah, combined with some of the highest stakes drama we've seen all season, both on the court and, well, maybe even in the boardroom.
Exactly.
We're talking literal WWE-style brawls in Charlotte, another skirmish up in Minnesota. And then, just to keep things weird, we have failed tanking jobs, huge scoring milestones, and a rumor out of Dallas that just sounds wild.
It is a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
And the danger with nights like this is that if you just look at the final scores, you miss the actual story.
Oh, for sure. You see Pistons beat Hornets and you just move on.
Right. But our mission today is to cut through that noise. We need to explain why tensions are boiling over right now, and more importantly, what these specific chaotic moments actually tell us about where these teams are headed.
So let's get right into the main event. And I do mean that literally. We have to start with the Hornets and the Pistons. This was not a little shoving match. This was chaos.
Absolute chaos. And to really get it, you have to zoom in on the third quarter.
Yeah.
The context here is important. You've got two young, hungry teams trying to find an identity. You've got Moussa Diabate for the Hornets and Jalen Duren for the Pistons.
And it all kicks off with a foul.
Yeah, a hard foul. Diabate fouls, it wasn't necessarily dirty, but it was one of those no easy layups fouls you see all the time.
Okay.
They bump foreheads. Some standard NBA posturing. And usually this is where the ref steps in. Maybe you get double technicals and everyone moves on.
But that is not what happened here.
Not even close. Duren responds by, he mushed Diabate.
Mushed. Okay, you have to define that for people. That's a specific kind of disrespect.
It is arguably the most disrespectful thing you can do without throwing a closed fist punch. He just took his open hand, put it right on Diabate's face, and shoved his entire head away.
Wow. It's so dismissive.
It's pure dismissal. It's not get away from me. It's you are beneath me. And naturally, that was the spark.
That was the explosion.
The explosion. Diabate just loses it. He starts swinging, trying to get it to Duren. Security swarms in. Coaches are grabbing players. It just looked like a mosh pit breaking out.
And just when you think it's settling down, Miles Bridges decides to jump back in.
He re-escalates the whole thing, shouting at Duren. But here's the moment that takes it from a scuffle to a full-blown spectacle.
This is the Isaiah Stewart part.
This is the beef stew moment. He wasn't even in the game. He sees what's happening and just sprints off the Pistons bench.
The reports described it like a WWE entrance.
It was exactly like a Royal Rumble entrance. Or like Rey Mysterio running down the ramp. He sees Bridges getting into it, and he just, full speed, no hesitation, right into the scrum to get at him. It was pure mayhem.
So after all that, what's the butcher's bill?
A massive fallout.
Yeah.
You get immediate ejections for Duren, Diabate, Miles Bridges, and Isaiah Stewart. 4 guys gone.
4 guys, just like that.
And then, just for good measure, later in the game, the Hornets coach Charles Lee gets tossed for arguing a flapping call on Paul Reid.
So 5 ejections total. You would think the energy in the building would just be toxic after that.
That's the most fascinating part. It wasn't, you'd expect a Malice at the Palace vibe, but the reports say the fans in Charlotte actually loved it. It energized the crowd. They were cheering. It became this rallying cry because I think that fan base is just starving for a team with some fight in them.
But here's the real question. They still had to finish the game. The Pistons won 110-104. How do you do that when your starting center and your main enforcer just got tossed?
Well, it comes down to Cade Cunningham. This was a true leadership moment. He saw Duren was gone. He saw Ivy was struggling, and he took over.
He had a huge line.
33 points, 9 boards, 7 assists. He just slowed the game down and basically told his team, I got this.
And we have to talk about the X factor here, Paul Reid. Because with Duren and Stewart gone, suddenly he's the most important big on the floor.
Paul Reid. B-ball Paul. I love this part. He comes off the bench in all this chaos and puts up 12 points. But the box score doesn't show his real impact. It was all about his defense.
How so? Because Reid can be pretty chaotic himself.
He is. But in this game, it was, let's say, controlled chaos. He was blitzing pick and rolls.
So for the listener, what does blitzing mean in this context?
So instead of dropping back to protect the rim, Reid was rushing out to trap the ball handler, forcing them to retreat or make a bad pass.
Creating havoc.
Total havoc. The analysis I read compared his impact in those minutes to Evan Mobley. just everywhere at once. It's a great example of a role player stepping into a vacuum and just thriving.
What a wild win for Detroit. But that wasn't the only fight on the card, was it? We also had the Timberwolves and the Hawks.
The undercard, you could say. This one happened right at the start of the fourth quarter. 8 seconds in, Mohamed Gueye from the Hawks shoves Reid.
Okay, rule 1 of the NBA. You don't shove Reid.
You generally shouldn't know. It's not a good idea. Reid retaliates, they start grabbing jerseys, and Jock Landale gets caught in the middle. Both Reid and Gueye get ejected.
But unlike the Detroit game, this one wasn't close at all. Minnesota just blew them out, 138-116.
It was a massive get-right game for the Wolves. They tied a franchise record with 81 points in the first half.
81. Wow.
But the thing I want to highlight here, the key takeaway for you if you're a Wolves fan, is the contribution of Ayo Dosunmu.
Ayo was huge.
He was their second leading scorer with 21 points. But it's how he scored that matters. He shot 7 of 9 on 2-pointers, and almost all of it was just relentlessly pushing the pace in transition.
And that's something the Wolves have been desperate for, right?
Well,
to play faster.
Exactly. They get so bogged down in the half court sometimes. But Ayo, he looked like the fully realized version of that play fast idea. He was just attacking the rim before the defense could even get set. It gave him a totally different gear.
I saw the Hawks tried to go to a zone defense to slow them down. How did Minnesota handle that?
That's the other big takeaway. The Hawks went zone, and the Wolves used Julius Randle perfectly. They put him right at the free throw line, what we call the hub of the zone.
The sweet spot.
It's the sweet spot because the defense has to collapse on you. Randle just sat there, caught the ball, and dissected them like a quarterback. He finished with a triple-double, 18 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists.
So Randle picks them apart from the middle. Ayo runs them off the floor.
Precisely. Now, context matters. The Hawks were missing Jalen Johnson and Dyson Daniels, who were really shorthanded. But for Minnesota, seeing the offense click like that, that's a huge proof of concept for them.
Okay, let's pivot from the brawls to something a little more cerebral. Let's go to Cleveland. The Cavs are finishing a brutal 11-day road trip. They're in Denver, exhausted, down 11 in the fourth.
This has schedule loss written all over it.
Absolutely. At altitude, your legs are gone, you're playing the Nuggets. Most teams just fold.
But this is where we see the genius of James Harden. And I'm not just talking about his scoring.
Right. There was a specific play the sources were raving about. They called it a savant moment. Walk us through it.
This is my favorite thing I read today. It's crunch time. Harden has the ball. He sees the Nuggets have switched, and they have 2 smaller defenders on the side where a screen is supposed to come.
So normally you just won the play.
Normally, yeah. But Harden sees the mismatch before it even develops, and he waves off the screen.
He waves it off?
Literally waves it off. He knows the screener would just clutter the space, so he throws the ball to Donovan Mitchell on the wing. And because Harden did that, Jamal Murray on defense relaxes for just a split second. He ball watches.
And that's all it takes.
That's all it takes. Mitchell immediately dumps it to Jarrett Allen for a wide-open layup. The defense never saw it coming.
So Harden didn't score, didn't even get the assist, but he created the whole thing with his brain.
It's the hockey assist.
Yeah.
He manipulated the entire defense without even touching the ball on that part of the play. It's 4D chess. And then, of course, he also did the scoring part. About 30 seconds left, he hits that signature step-back 3.
The dagger.
The dagger. The Cavs win, go 4-1 in that road trip.
What does a win like that say about this Cavs team? Because I feel like in past seasons, they lose this game 9 times out of 10.
That's the big picture takeaway. It signals a shift in belief. Before, down 11 in Denver on the last day of a road trip, they'd pack it in. Now they look like a team that actually believes they can win a title. It's a psychological shift.
Speaking of belief, or maybe the lack of belief in winning, let's go to Utah. This story is just hilarious. The Jazz are playing the Heat, and the Jazz are, well, they're tanking.
They are actively trying to lose.
Huh.
There's no other way to put it. And yet they found themselves with a lead against Miami.
So what does the coach, Will Hardy, do? He's got orders from the top, right?
He does what any good tank commander would do. He benches his stars. Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr. sat the entire fourth quarter.
The whole quarter, even with a lead.
The whole quarter.
Yeah.
It's like pulling the handbrake in a race car because you're going too fast. And the best part is the press conference after. A reporter asks him, how close were you to putting them back in?
Yeah.
He just gives this deadpan Dwight Schrute-style answer. He just says, I wasn't.
I wasn't. No spin, no coach speak, just...
Yep. Zero hesitation. He was not trying to win that game.
Yeah.
But here's the irony. The Heat just fell apart.
They still lost.
The Jazz bench came in with all this energy, and Miami couldn't handle it. Utah wins 115 to 111, completely by accident.
That has to be so frustrating if you're Miami. You're playing a team that is trying to hand you the game.
Oh, the sources from Miami were brutal. They called it shameless. A shameless tank job that Miami still couldn't capitalize on. The only bright spot was a rookie, Kasparas Dikusionis, who had 20. But for the team, losing to a team actively sabotaging itself, that's a tough pill to swallow.
The ultimate task failed successfully for Utah. Okay, a couple more quick stories to hit. First, a nod to a legend, Russell Westbrook.
Yes, playing for the Kings now. He just surpassed 27,000 career points.
That is an incredible number.
It puts him in some seriously elite company. I think sometimes we focus on the inefficiencies, but you just have to respect the longevity and the sheer force of will it takes to get to 27,000.
Absolutely, a testament to his durability. But finally, let's talk Dallas. And it's not about Luka. It's about Mark Cuban.
This is a fascinating rumor. So the report is that a Dallas investor group wants to partner with Cuban to potentially buy the Mavericks back.
Wait, hold on. Didn't he just sell the team, like the majority stake?
He did. It hasn't been that long. But this report suggests there's a group that wants to bring him back in as the face of a new ownership bid.
Why now? What's the context here?
Well, there is significant fan unrest in Dallas right now. The sources mention a trade that sent Anthony Davis away for not much.
Anthony Davis. I don't remember him playing for the Mavs.
In the context of this report, it was a move that has the fan base just furious. They feel like the return was awful.
Oh, the fans are revolting.
The report uses that exact word, revolting. And when the vibe gets that bad, people start looking for a savior. And in Dallas, that figure has always been Cuban.
The guy in the T-shirt screaming at the refs.
Exactly. It feels like a corporate thriller. The former owner returning to save the team from the new owners. Whether the current owners would actually sell is a whole other question, but the fact that this rumor is even out there tells you how volatile things are in Dallas right now.
Okay, let's try to tie all of this together. We had brawls, we had high IQ basketball, accidental wins, and now ownership coups. What's the through line?
I think the theme is fighting spirit, both literally and figuratively. You had the Pistons literally fighting to prove they aren't pushovers. You had the Cavs fighting exhaustion to get a huge win. You even had the Jazz bench fighting against their own coach's tanking strategy.
It's that time of the season, right? The dog days where everyone's a little on edge.
Exactly. But it raises a bigger question for me. We're seeing tanking teams accidentally winning because the players won't quit. We're seeing guys like Harden and Westbrook still bending games to their will. Are we seeing a shift where the gap between the good teams and the bad teams is shrinking simply because of effort and pride?
That's a great point. Talent is one thing, but if the bad team is willing to punch you in the mouth, metaphorically or literally, they've always got a shot.
Precisely. And honestly, that makes for some must-watch TV. If you can't predict the winner just by looking at the roster, the product is in a very good place.
Thank you for listening. Please comment, like, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Spotify, please leave 5-star review. It will help the channel grow. Until next time, please check our previous episodes.